January 27th, Thursday. Another awareness day. I like for others to learn from my experience. If they do, that's awesome. But I have experienced a lot with new beginning. New beginning means a lot of things. People will understand it in their own way, dealing with their own selves. But the world's evolving pretty fast. A lot going on that we not know of, and I like to talk about these things because they are interesting. And of course, a lot of people are against these topics, but at the same time, these topics can save your life. And they can better yourself as well. So, awareness, consciousness, all that stuff, manipulation, psychic abilities, naturality, dealing with the universe, being able to understand all this, being able to understand universal laws, the cause and effects, the laws of attraction. There's a lot going on. It's all interesting. Another one of my discoveries of manipulation that is very popular is being able to understand how a person can trigger another person unnaturally. And what I mean by unnaturally is we have our triggers, and those triggers would be addictive habits, dealing with addictive habits. So it's almost like trying to quit smoking, but you have to put gas in your car and you pay, and it's like there's a whole shelf of freaking cigarettes, right? So it's like that would be a natural trigger that you got to deal with. And so an unnatural trigger would be, this is an example, would be quit smoking, which, I mean, I've been there, I've quit smoking. And if I know I haven't thought of cigarettes for a long time, and I know I'm well over that, and I know I'm done with it, and I know I have the choice to smoke a cigarette or not, but I typically don't think of cigarettes, then at that time it's like, all right, when I start feeling that effect of constantly thinking of cigarettes and I'm not being triggered naturally, the unnatural trigger would be somebody that's trying to psychically manipulate me. Whether it's a picture or something felt, an urge, any of those things. Because the image can come in one or two ways. It can come as just a reminder, as a thought, like, okay, and then you have the willpower to say, like, hey, I quit those things, whatever. And then from there, it's like, understand that you can be taunted by somebody psychically. And so when it comes to more triggers that are more effective, it would be dealing with people. We all are on this self-care. When it comes time to improving yourself and all this stuff, we learn what toxicity is, and we learn how to steer clear from people that don't serve a purpose in our life and other things like that. It it helps us and allows ourselves to not affiliate ourselves with people that are negative influences that allow us to self-destruct. And so when that happens, it's like cleaning out your phone book and getting rid of people in your life. And so when somebody's trying to play you for a fool and manipulate you or have vendetta or have some type of something against you, they're going to try to trigger you by the objects that person either has or wore. And it's an area of things that need to be understood, because this trigger effect is very selfish-like, and it's very negative, and it's very wrong to be doing to people. So it's like, for example, that a person's trying to put you in a trance, basically. Like, they're trying to manipulate the heck out of you. Like, whatever their reason is, who knows? Like, trying to figure it out, I don't know. But being on your proper path, that's what I know. Knowing what you want, knowing what you don't want. Of course, knowing what you want, but to be able to properly want it are two different things. People's intentions and their desires, they're very interesting. Because like I've said before, a person's desire, it's like, how strong is that desire? Are they willing to make that decision based off of their intention? Because their intention is a different effect. To be able to explain this, it's like, an example would be, I have a desire, and this is just an example. I mean, I'm comfortable with my own car. But if I had a desire to buy me a brand new Corvette or a brand new Viper, and I tell myself, all right, I understand my desire, and I'm going to do what I got to do to get it, right? But my intention to obtain that desire has a whole different progress, you know? The progress would be how I'm putting my things in order to be able to obtain that desire. So my intention would affect whatever progress. So processing, basically, how to obtain that desire can go one or two ways. A good way or a bad way. Right? Now, I can either work and do whatever, you know, in a good way and keep it legal and obtain and save and all that. Figure out ways to get finance and all that, you know, like the proper way. Or I can make a negative choice and figure out a way to either accumulate money illegally, or I guess people, you know, I don't know if they still do, I'm sure they do, can steal that Corvette or get it on the black market or buy a stolen one, you know, try to get it cheaper than what it is. So many options, you know, whatever it is, good, bad. And it's like, okay, your personality, only you know yourself. Only you know your limitations. Only you know that saying, you're living on the edge, or if you're that dangerous type of person, or, that all depends on your personality, like who you are. But to be able to understand how you're being manipulated, it's like you're going to end up having those thought or action of what you wouldn't do, or what you told yourself you wouldn't do. Even if you may have done it once and learned your lesson and you moved on from that, and then all of a sudden, all these negative things keep happening to where it's like, I thought, I would never do it. Like, a person shouldn't be fighting their, what they would call their negativity. It's like, metaphysically, they say, you're fighting your demons. A person shouldn't be fighting their demons that much. Like, because the demon that you're fighting is the person that's negatively connecting to you psychically. And utilizing something from you. And so it's like, how long is a person going to understand that I'm not going to do that, and I keep on getting triggered? Why am I getting triggered? This is that ultimate trigger that is actually being manipulated. This is what they call mind control. The levels of it can vary, be slightly different, whatever it is. But this mind control efforts, it's like, wow. Like, why would a person really waste their time doing this? Only one thing, they're trying to obtain something that they can't give themselves. It can be many things. I try not to judge. But being able to witness this myself, it's like, wow. I've understood that I've helped people along the way. And it's interesting. It's like a bunch of dominoes. And each one of them is attached to a string. And it's like helping somebody. It's like one slides out of their little tie. And it's like they're ended up able to move on. And so I've done this many times. And it's like, well, who's holding that little string of dominoes? Because the way I understand it, it's like, it's just like a puppet master, right? Old school. Being able to control one of those little dominoes. Either by a number, by behavior, by manipulation, by words. There's many ways that I've witnessed this. How did I witness this? I educated myself. I knew how to be non-judgmental. Whether the next person or that believes it, oh well. I know myself. I know how to be non-judgmental. I know how to be understanding. I know how to listen without judging. But I'm learning. And I realized I've learned all their tactics for a reason. Because I went through an awareness 3 years ago. And that was my new beginning. And I had already had a decision what my new beginning was going to be. And it's like along the way, things happen. That's fine. I understand. But it's like something went wrong somewhere. There's a reason why. And of course, being able to humbly wait and being able to understand wrongs, even if they were affected by being an empath or not, it doesn't matter. But being able to understand all this, it's very interesting because I understood manipulation tactics. I understood what real control is. I understood manipulation at its finest. The silent manipulation. So always be aware that a person shouldn't be fighting their demons this long. Because eventually in life, we all get what we want, which is based on the quality of our decisions. Even if things aren't going well, there's that little word that means a lot, faith, right? Keep the faith. Faith. It's to have something. It's to have. It would have to be a strong faith. Because faith is a, strong belief. So, understand that things might not be well at the moment. But if you know what you want, and your beliefs are there, then you know what you can obtain. Now, there's a lot of people that are going to try to get in the way of that. Why? There's a lot of situations one thing that I'm understanding is blame. Here's another awesome example how people psychically manipulate. Go to a store and steal something, they can get you on camera. You can prove your innocence. If you did or you didn't. Right? Of course, if you did, you're going to get in trouble. If they falsely accused you, you're not going to get in trouble. So, there's many examples. You know? So, don't go to the store, steal something. Go to the store, buy something. Either way, what we do in life, there's many accusements. Tickets, jail, no matter what it is. Through the court system itself, there's a lot of people that can obtain proven innocent. They can obtain their innocence that they had. So when it comes to psychically, it's like you're going to have that manipulation from another person that's going to try to blame you for everything. Why? Because they didn't know how to properly do things, because they didn't think about their intention of their selfishness and their greed. They didn't think about their want and their effect from that want, because of the intention wasn't proper in the first place. How do I know this for a fact? It's because when I set out to help people, I have no intention but to actually help the person. And I help the person. And come to find out later, there's attachments. Because they wanted to wrongfully use the help. And so, whatever selfish intent they had, it's like they tried to manipulate it to not be able to find what they did wrong. So they'll continuously accuse and blame the person that's helping. And that part is different from society, because society alone has a certain limitation of being able to put an end to it. You know, it's like you're innocent, okay, bye. You did something wrong, here, pay a fine. Or jail time or whatever. Now in the psychic world, it's like, this person won't leave you alone. So you got to watch out for those type of manipulation tactics. Always know your intention. Always know that you're being manipulated or not being manipulated. But know when it's happening. Understand that the intention itself has a choice of good or bad. So understanding manipulation is pretty difficult, but it happens. I'm a prime witness to it. How to prevent it, still working on it. Knowing it's being done through energy, because they made a decision to put that out consciously. Why'd they put that out consciously? Well, they had a choice to do things the proper way or the improper way. How it affects them, it's none of my business. But I know right from wrong. And I know what they're doing is affecting the innocent. So these are why I'm doing these broadcasts, because I'm witnessing it every day, hoping that this helps other people. There's a difference between the consciousness of output that we're supposed to use. You know, like, you have all these popular people that have all these awesome quotes. You're talking about Nikola Tesla. You're talking about Albert Einstein. You're talking about people that are legends. And what do they say? They have all these awesome imaginational quotes. And yeah, they're awesome quotes. And they're inspiring. But know how to use the imagination. Because the world we live in, the cars we drive, now that's using your imagination. No more gas to put in the car, running full electric. That's imagination. That's awesome. That's being able to use your education, being able to build the proper way, so society can utilize and understand how it helps the environment. Because they're saving the planet. Right? And so basically, it's like your imagination is supposed to be put to use in a very honest, educational way. I mean, you got things that are... The world's freaking booming with natural. You know, whether they're utilizing hemp, which would be the actual product of the plant, but not the bud, not the THC. It's like utilizing the stems and the leaves to weave some clothing together, or a piece of cloth, or curtains, or whatever it is. It's like turning hemp into shampoo. You know, you can turn any type of plant into a product that will allow us to bathe, clothe, all that stuff. I mean, if you want, you can use it as a season too, to eat. You know, how are you using your imagination? Is it being done properly? So, what we put out is important. Are we saving the environment? Are we saving the world? Are we allowing our kids to be able to live peacefully and properly? You need to think about that. You need to think about what your imagination is. And put that into something productive. Put that into an effect that's going to help. No matter what it is. There's a school behind it. There's an education process. There's an education field. Something to help the next person. And so, imagination ain't all about which would be the other way, the negative way. You don't want to use your imagination in a negative way. Especially in this conscious world. Like, if you want, I don't like to talk about it, but if you want an example, not being able to utilize the proper things that I just spoke of, it's like, if you're using energy, it's not supposed to be like that. Because your energy is what I just said. Pick up a pencil and start writing. It's the mood set. It's that attitude of getting into the vibe of it, you know? Whether you gotta listen to music, whatever inspires you to get that, you know, that drive of going and going. For me, it would be the music. You know, not just the music, but the beat. The frequency is what they would call it. It's a certain type of music. Because it's not all about the lyrics. So, here's a quick example of not utilizing the imagination in a proper way. It's not dealing with anything. Simple as that. And what I mean by that is they think, oh, I think this person or whatever is affecting me. And so it's like they'll use their imagination to be like, I'm going to put it into that. I'm going to block this. I'm just going to block that, right? Well, here's the thing. That goes many ways. If you block an emotion, you're not allowing your body to function properly. Here's another thing. Like I said earlier, if somebody's manipulating you, then there's another party that's utilizing yourself. So when a person, here's another example. So when a person says, oh, I'm going to block that, they're actually making the other person block that for them. And that's important to remember. Because that person that doesn't know that they're doing it for them, whew, it's like they're missing all their qualities. They're missing their, if it's whatever they perceive it as or understand it as, those things could have been utilized in something else. But somebody's manipulating it. And so it's basically like making somebody do something they not know of, right? This is why it's important to know how it is to be manipulated. You gotta understand these things. You gotta allow yourself to not have any attachments. You gotta know your good and your bad side as yourself. Now another thing is, in this psychic world, in this psychic way of understanding, what they don't know is their good side and their bad side, whatever it is affected by somebody else. So how to break that connection? Still working on it. Or does the universe play its way? This is why it's important for individuality to be able to make our own decisions properly. To not allow a person to make their decision properly, that's against the free will. And so it's important to be honest, to know your good path. It's important to not allow these ties, because these ties, they're deadly. So know how not to use your imagination. Because people want to put a block on things and you can't. You can only let those natural things work. You want to cry, I understand why you're crying. You want to be emotional one day? Be emotional one day. It's alright, it's okay. Understand why you're being emotional. Understand your situation. Know your truth. Understand if it's thought overboard. Because these things that are extra, that means there's somebody extra in your life. Or there's something extra going on that needs to be evaluated. So I always encourage, understand the imagination as it should be, which is helping our environment. Why other people that were legends, that knew all about this, didn't explain their quote a little more? Maybe they didn't know. It's unpredictable. Because being able to try to judge the past is a whole lot different from judging the future. To judge the past, it's like you're never going to get the proper answer because you don't know the situation, but you do know how to pinpoint how somebody can misjudge what they're reading without giving explanation. So properly use the imagination. It creates a better environment for us in the future. For the kids, for anything that's left behind. We all got to put in our own work. Some do, some don't. The people that don't, that's their choice. So be aware of what you're not aware of. If you need help, there's plenty of ways out there to get help. There's a lot of ways to get help. Need more insight? There's a lot of people that deal with that. There's many ways. These broadcasts constantly are going to be put out for other people to listen to. If you're not understanding them, properly, you got questions, you can always email or leave a message, whatever it is. But it's very important for others to understand this. Because it's very hard to get back on track when something's going wrong and you're not aware of it. Be careful. Be careful of these manipulation tactics from other people that are using their psychic abilities or whatever you want to call it. Because they're being wrongfully done anyways. So when these manipulation tactics occur, you have to understand the whole understanding of new evolvement and what they're using toward yourself. So you have to understand the only way to not allow this is to be able to not allow the toxicity in your life. Now, you have a spouse and all that, and y'all are like going through this whole ordeal, what they would call twin flames, but it's really just something else. It's like that's where all those important key factors are, communication, just being honest, knowing what you want in life, deciding on your future, deciding what you want, being able to go through with that path that you have talked to about with your spouse or whatever. It's always important to communicate about what you want before you get it or before you obtain it or before you make a goal of it. So if you're going through this and you're married or you're a couple or you have a spouse, like, communicate. Start from there. That's it. Other than that, it's like Understand when you're under a trance or something, because you know the difference. You know the difference between what you're trying to move past and let go and what's going on in the moment. And if somebody is wrongfully connected to you, the universe works in mysterious ways. Because that person that's wrongfully trying to connect to you, don't think that they're all alone in life. They're using somebody else as well. There's always, there's always that good quality of somebody knowing right from wrong. Don't take advantage of it. Just know that they did the proper thing. They did the right thing. Now, that's in the wrongful manipulation of psychically connecting. Also know when somebody's testing your limitations. They're basically testing your freaking life. Never allow anybody to test you. If you feel like doing something, then do it. If you normally don't do it, then don't. So, understand what consciousness is. And understand when somebody else's imagination is affecting you. Because they're trying to obtain something wrongfully. And that's my experience. Is that somebody tried to obtain something wrongfully from my own family. Manipulating. Wrongfully psychically connecting. Started with my wife, and it went to the kids. This is another reason why I do what I do. That's the last thing you want. It's for a child to get involved in this. Nobody has a right to keep tabs on a family. We all have our own families. We all have our own ways of. I don't condone manipulation in this type of work, in this field of work. It's wrong. I've witnessed it. I've been able to properly give the proper advice to get some people out of it. And hopefully these videos will help you get closer to one step of getting out of it.